There comes a moment in every man's life when nothing works. You try, you plan, you push yourself harder than ever before, and still you fail. Again and again and again. At first, it feels like bad luck. Then it starts to feel like something worse. Like maybe there's something wrong with you. You watch others move forward, build success, find purpose, while you stay stuck in the same place, repeating the same mistakes. And slowly, something dangerous begins to grow inside you. Doubt, not just in your abilities, but in your identity. But what if failure isn't the problem? What if failure is a system? A brutal, unforgiving system designed to break weak identities and forge powerful ones? Centuries ago, samurai warriors followed a mindset that most people today would never survive. They didn't avoid failure. They trained with it. They studied it. They used it as a weapon. And hidden inside that mindset are 7 hard truths. Truths so uncomfortable, most people will never accept them. But if you do, they will transform failure into something far more dangerous. Power. This is the story of a man who learned those truths the hard way, and how failure didn't destroy him. It rebuilt him. Arav Malik lived an ordinary life. On paper, everything was fine. He had a degree, a job, a routine, nothing impressive, nothing terrible, just average. But inside, something fell off. A quiet frustration that followed him everywhere. Every morning, he woke up with the same thought. I should be further ahead by now. At work, Arav watched others get promoted. People who weren't smarter than him. People who didn't work harder than him. Yet somehow, they moved forward. And he didn't. So he did what most people do. He tried to fix it. He watched productivity videos, read self-improvement books, set goals. For a few days, he felt motivated, disciplined, focused. But then, he slipped. He skipped a day, then another, then a week passed. And suddenly, he was back where he started. Except this time worse, because now he knew what he was capable of, and still couldn't maintain it. Failure wasn't just something that happened to him anymore. It became something he expected, and that expectation slowly shaped his identity. I'm just not consistent. I'm not disciplined. Maybe I'm not built for success. These thoughts didn't feel like excuses. They felt like truth. But the real problem hadn't even begun yet, because failure has a second stage, a stage most people never recognize. And this is where everything starts to collapse. Chapter 1, The Awakening. It happened on a quiet Friday evening. Arav sat alone in his apartment, laptop open, a half-finished project on the screen, a deadline he had already missed. Again, his phone buzzed. A message from his manager. Let's discuss your performance on Monday. Short, polite, but heavy. Arav stared at the message, and for the first time, he didn't feel surprised. He felt numb, because deep down, he already knew he had failed again. But this time, something was different. Instead of blaming circumstances, he asked himself a question he had avoided for years. What if the problem is me? The room felt quieter, the air heavier, because that question doesn't just challenge your actions. It challenges your identity. Arav stood up and walked to the mirror. He looked at himself, really looked, and what he saw wasn't failure. It was hesitation, delay, excuses disguised as logic, plans without execution. And in that moment, something uncomfortable became clear. Arav didn't have a discipline problem. He had an honesty problem. He had been lying to himself, telling himself he was trying, when in reality, he was avoiding discomfort, telling himself he needed more time, when in reality, he was afraid to commit. And this is the first hard truth. Truth 1, you're not failing. You're avoiding. Failure is painful, but avoidance is comfortable. So the mind does something dangerous. It replaces failure with delay. I'll start tomorrow. I need more preparation. I'm not ready yet. But all of these thoughts hide the same reality. You're not failing. You're refusing to act fully. Arav felt this truth hit him hard, because it explained everything. Every missed opportunity, every unfinished goal, every moment of trying. He wasn't truly trying. He was staying in a safe zone, where failure could never fully expose him. Because if you never go all in, you never have to face the truth of your limits. But something unexpected happened next. Instead of feeling motivated, Arav felt worse. because now he couldn't lie to himself anymore. And this is where most people break. Because once you see the truth, you have two choices: change or retreat back into comfortable illusions. Arif didn't know which one he would choose, but life was about to force his hand, because 2 days later, that meeting with his manager changed everything, and it would push him into a situation he couldn't overthink his way out of. A situation where failure would no longer be an option, but a confrontation. And this is where Arif would encounter something unexpected: a philosophy, an idea rooted in discipline, suffering, and power. One that would introduce him to the next hard truth. But this is also where the real battle begins. Because understanding truth is easy. Living it is war. Chapter 2, Discovery. Monday arrived faster than Arif expected. The office felt colder than usual. Or maybe it was just him. He sat across from his manager, hands still, face calm. But inside, his thoughts were racing. Every possible outcome played in his mind. Excuses, explanations, promises to improve. But when his manager finally spoke, none of those mattered. Arif, he said quietly, "You're capable, but you're unreliable." That word hit harder than anything else. Unreliable, not untalented, not unskilled, just someone who couldn't be trusted to deliver. The manager continued, "We're putting you on a performance review." A pause. 3 months. If things don't change, we'll have to let you go. The meeting ended quickly, but the impact didn't. Arif walked out of the building in silence. The city moved around him. Cars, people, noise. But inside, everything slowed down. Because for the first time, failure had consequences he couldn't ignore. No more second chances. No more next time. This was it. And yet, instead of clarity, something else appeared. Doubt. What if I fail again? What if I try and still lose everything? These thoughts weren't new, but now they felt louder, heavier, and more dangerous. Arif walked without direction until he found himself standing in front of a place he had never noticed before. A small dojo. Simple, quiet, almost hidden. The wooden sign outside read, "Discipline before outcome." Something about those words pulled him in. He stepped inside. The room was calm, minimal. At the center stood an older man, watching a student practice slow, deliberate movements with a wooden sword. Each movement was precise, controlled, intentional. No hositashchen, no wastilmotion. The man turned toward Arif. "You're not here for training?" he said. It wasn't a question. Arif shook his head. "I think I'm here because I keep failing." The man studied him for a moment, then said something unexpected. "Good." Arif blinked. "Good." The man nodded. "Failure is the only honest teacher." Arif frowned. "That doesn't feel true." The man smiled slightly. "That's because you've been using failure the wrong way." He picked up a wooden sword and handed it to Arif. "Hold this." Arif hesitated, but took it. "Now strike," the man said. Arif awkwardly swung the sword. It felt uncoordinated, unnatural. The man shook his head. Again. Arif tried again. Still wrong. Again. Each attempt felt worse than the last. Frustration started building. "I don't know how to do this," Arif said. The man nodded. "Exactly." Then he said something that shifted everything. "You're not failing because you're weak. You're failing because you expect to be good without being bad first." Arif froze, because that sentence exposed something deep. He didn't just fear failure. He feared looking incompetent. The man continued, "Modern people avoid failure because it attacks their identity. But the samurai did the opposite. They trained to fail repeatedly." Arif lowered the sword slightly. "Why?" The man stepped closer. "Because failure reveals truth. No illusion, no ego, just reality." Arif felt something uncomfortable rising inside him. Because for years, he had avoided that exact thing. Reality. The man took the sword back. "Let me give you the second truth. Truth 2. Failure exposes who you really are. You don't discover your strength in comfort. You discover it when everything breaks, when plans collapse, when effort fails, when excuses disappear. That's when reality shows up, and most people don't like what they see. Because failure removes the story you tell yourself. It shows your habits, your discipline, your consistency, or the lack of it. Arav realized something painful. Every time he failed, he didn't reflect. He distracted himself, blamed circumstances, waited for motivation, but he never looked directly at the truth. Because truth is uncomfortable. But this is where everything begins to change. Because once you see clearly, you can no longer pretend. And this is where the next stage begins. The stage most people never survive. Chapter 3, The Internal War. Arav started coming to the dojo every evening, not to become a fighter, but to understand something deeper. The way the students trained was different from anything he had seen before. There was no rush, no shortcuts, just repetition. Slow, precise, relentless. At first, it felt pointless. Why are they repeating the same movement over and over? Arav asked. The instructor replied calmly, because mastery is not built through intensity. It is built through repetition. Then he wrote a word on a small board. Kaizen, continuous improvement, he explained, but not in big leaps. In small, consistent steps. Arav had heard this before, but now he was seeing it in action. Every student improved, not quickly, but steadily, and something strange started happening. Arav began noticing the same principle in his own life. His failures weren't random. They followed patterns, missed routines, delayed actions, inconsistent effort, and for the first time, he saw the real enemy. Not failure, but inconsistency. But knowing this didn't make things easier. In fact, it made things harder, because now he couldn't hide. Every time he skipped a task, he knew. Every time he delayed action, he felt it, and this created a new kind of struggle, an internal war. One voice said, do the work. The other said, you can do it later. One voice pushed forward, the other pulled back. And this is where most people fail. Not because they don't know what to do, but because they don't win the battle inside their own mind. Arav experienced this every morning. Alarm rings. Wake up, or snooze. Work now, or delay. Train today, or skip. Each decision felt small, but over time, they defined everything. A researcher studying behavior at Stanford University once found that small, repeated decisions shape identity more than big one-time actions. Arav was living proof of this because his identity had been built, not through major failures, but through small daily compromises. And this realization led to the third hard truth. Truth 3. Your habits are stronger than your intentions. You don't rise to your goals. You fall to your habits. You can want success, plan for success, visualize success. But if your habits don't support it, you will fail. Every time, Arav understood this intellectually. But now, he felt it, because no matter how motivated he became, his habits pulled him back. And that's when something unexpected happened. The instructor gave him a challenge. A simple one, but brutal in execution. And this is where the real transformation would begin. Because Arav was about to learn something that most people never accept. Discipline is not built through motivation. It is built through structure. And the method he was about to learn would test everything he believed about progress. But this is also where many people quit. Because the next truth is the hardest of all. Chapter 4, The Method. The next evening, Arav arrived at the dojo expecting another session of observation. Instead, the instructor handed him a small piece of paper. On it, only one sentence was written. One action. Every day. No nigo chiaschen. Arav looked up. That's it. The instructor nodded. That's everything. Arav frowned. That doesn't seem like enough. The instructor stepped closer. That's because you're still thinking like someone who relies on motivation. Then he added, motivation is unstable. Structure is permanent. Arav stared at the paper. One action every day? Yes, the instructor said, but it must be specific. It must be measurable, and it must be completed no matter what. Arav felt resistance immediately. What if I don't feel like it? The instructor smiled slightly. That's exactly when it matters most. Then he continued. The samurai didn't train when they felt ready. They trained when it was time. Arav nodded slowly, but something still felt unclear. How does one small action change anything? The instructor picked up a wooden sword and held it out. Strike once, he said. Arav did. Then the instructor asked, did that make you a master? No, then strike again. Arav did, and again, and again. After several repetitions, Arav's arms felt heavier, his movements slightly sharper. Not perfect, but better. The instructor lowered the sword. Mastery is hidden in repetition. Not intensity, not motivation, repetition. Then he pointed at the paper again. That is your training. Arav went home that night with something unfamiliar. Not excitement, not motivation, but clarity. The next morning, he wrote his first action. Complete project report before 10 a.m. Normally, he would overthink it, perfect it, delay it. But this time, he followed the rule. Start immediately. No negociation, no perfection, just completion. It wasn't perfect, but it was done. And something shifted, not dramatically, but enough to notice. The next day, wake up at 6 a.m. The next, train for 30 minutes. The next, apply to 2 new opportunities. Each action felt small, almost insignificant, but something unexpected started happening. His confidence didn't come from results. It came from consistency. A neuroscientist from MIT studying habit formation explains, when actions are repeated consistently, the brain begins to associate identity with behavior. In simple terms, you don't become disciplined by thinking. You become disciplined by acting repeatedly. Arav felt this change, slowly, quietly, but powerfully. But just as things started improving, everything collapsed again, because progress is never linear. And this is where most people give up. Chapter 5, Obstacles. Week 3, Arav missed a day. It was small, just one action. He told himself it didn't matter. I'll do it tomorrow. But tomorrow became 2 days, then 3, and suddenly, the old patterns returned. Late nights, missed tasks, delayed work. The structure he had built started cracking, and with it, his confidence. The voice came back. You see, you haven't changed. This is who you are. Arav felt the frustration building again. All that effort, gone. All that discipline, fragile. He returned to the dojo that evening, frustrated. I failed again, he said. The instructor listened quietly, then asked, Did you expect perfection? Arav hesitated. No, but I thought I was improving. The instructor nodded. You were. Then what happened? Arav asked. The instructor looked at him directly. You believe progress meant becoming someone who never fails. Arav frowned. Isn't that the goal? The instructor shook his head. No, progress means becoming someone who recovers faster. Arav paused, because that idea felt completely different. The instructor continued. Failure will happen. Discipline breaks. Habits slip. But the difference between weak and strong men is how quickly they return. Arav thought about the past week. He didn't just miss one day. He let that one failure turn into many. Why? Because he saw it as proof he hadn't changed. But the instructor saw it differently. One missed day is a mistake. Multiple missed days is a decision. That sentence hit hard, because it was true. Arav hadn't failed once. He had chosen to stay down. And this leads to the 4th hard truth. Truth 4. Failure only wins when you stay down. Everyone fails. Everyone slips. Everyone breaks discipline at some point. But failure doesn't define you. Your reaction does. Weakness is not falling. Weakness is staying down and creating a story around it. I'm not consistent. I can't do this. This isn't for me. These thoughts feel real, but they are built in moments of weakness, not truth. Arav realized something powerful. His biggest mistake wasn't failing. It was identifying with failure. And once you identify with failure, you stop trying. But something unexpected happened next. Instead of restarting perfectly, Arav did something different. He wrote one action again. Just one. No punishment. No overcorrection. No extreme comeback plan. Just one step forward. And that changed everything. Because he finally understood something most people miss. You don't rebuild discipline through intensity. You rebuild it through returning. Again, and again, and again. And this is where the real transformation begins. Because the next phase isn't about actions anymore. It's about identity. And this is where the most powerful truth reveals itself. A truth that separates those who stay stuck from those who become unstoppable. Chapter 6, the turning point. Something changed after that moment. Not in Arv's schedule, not in his environment, but in the way he saw himself. Before, every failure felt like evidence. Proof that he wasn't disciplined. Proof that he wasn't built for success. But now, failure felt different. It became feedback, information, direction, and that shift changed everything. Because once failure stops being emotional, it becomes useful. Arv returned to his one action system, but this time with a new mindset. No pressure to be perfect, no need to prove anything, just movement, daily, consistent, uncomplicated, and slowly, the results started stacking. He completed tasks faster, his work improved, his confidence grew, but the real transformation was invisible. His internal dialogue changed. When he missed a day, he didn't spiral, he adjusted. When he felt resistance, he acted anyway. When doubt appeared, he observed it and moved forward. And this is where something deeper revealed itself. A principle found in both Stoicism and Zen discipline. You cannot control outcomes. You cannot control emotions, but you can control action. A psychologist studying performance behavior once noted, high performers are not less emotional. They are less obedient to emotion. That was the difference. Arv still felt doubt, still felt resistance, still felt fear, but he stopped treating those feelings as commands. They became background noise, and his actions became his identity. But something unexpected happened. The instructor gave him one final lesson, one that went beyond discipline, one that explained why all of this mattered. And this is where the deepest truth emerged. Chapter 7, The Transformation. One evening, after training, Arv sat with the instructor in silence. No questions, no frustration, just calm. The instructor finally spoke. You've changed. Arv nodded slightly. I think I understand discipline now. The instructor shook his head. No, you've only seen the surface. Arv frowned. Then what's deeper? The instructor wrote a word on the floor with a piece of chalk. Ikigai. Arv had heard the term before. Purpose? He asked. The instructor nodded. Yes, but not the way people think. He continued. Most people search for purpose before they build discipline. That's why they stay lost. Arv listened closely. The instructor pointed at him. You didn't find purpose by thinking. You found it by acting. That hit differently. Because it was true. Arv hadn't discovered some grand vision. He had built momentum, and that momentum created clarity. The instructor continued. Purpose is not something you find. It's something that reveals itself through consistent action. Arv sat in silence, because suddenly, everything made sense. All the failures, all the confusion, all the frustration, they weren't obstacles. They were part of the process. And this led to the final truth. Truth 7. Power is built through repetition, not motivation. Motivation fades. Emotion changes. Energy fluctuates. But repetition creates identity, and identity creates power. Arv wasn't powerful because he never failed. He was powerful because he kept moving despite failure, despite doubt, despite resistance. That's what made him different now. Not talent, not intelligence, but consistency. And that's something anyone can build. Let's bring it all together. These are the truths that transformed Arv's life. You're not failing, you're avoiding. Failure exposes who you really are. Your habits are stronger than your intentions. Failure only wins when you stay down. Discipline is built through structure, not motivation. Emotions are signals, not commands. Power is built through repetition, not motivation. These truths are not comfortable. They don't feel good, but they are real. And if you accept them, they will change everything. Let me ask you something. How many times have you told yourself you'll start tomorrow? How many times have you planned, but never executed? How many times have you failed and decided it meant something about who you are? Maybe you've experienced exactly what Arv went through. The cycle of effort and collapse, motivation and burnout, hope and disappointment. But here's the truth. You don't need a new plan. You don't need more motivation. You don't need perfect conditions. You need one thing: action. Small, consistent, relentless. Because failure is not your enemy. It's your training ground. And every time you choose to act, You turn that failure into power. Now, I want you to do something simple. What is one action you've been avoiding? Not 10, not 5, just one. Write it in the comments. And more importantly, do it today, because your transformation doesn't begin when you feel ready. It begins when you move anyway. And remember this, failure doesn't break strong men. It builds them.